trying to remember those like first nights. I think, I was trying to read stuff about sobriety, trying to read the Alcoholics Anonymous handbook.
Yeah.
Trying to read Russell Brand's book, Recovery.
Fuck yeah. He saved both of us.
Literally saved my life.
He pulled me out of the wreckage.
Yeah.
He's an amazing man, and we're honored to have him as our first guest on this podcast. Thank you, Russell.
Everybody, please welcome
Russell
the one
Brand.
and only
Russell Brand. Thank you. He's currently in the bathroom performing a colonic on himself. He will be out here soon. I'm glad to have him.
Then he's going to do a quick cold plunge.
Cold plunge. He's doing a cold plunge enema.
You're listening to Rock Bottoms, a podcast of substance. I'm Amanda Corday.
And I'm Dave McNamee.
We're sober.
And alcoholics.
And we're talking about it. I've been sober for 6.5 years.
And I have been sober for a little over 6 years.
That's fantastic. 2018.
2018.
Good year for getting sober.
Yeah, where it all went wrong. Any addiction you have, from beer to wine,
to phones, to sex, to food,
to vaping, to cigarettes, to gambling,
to television, to Coke, the drug, to Coke, the soda. We want to hear about it. We want to talk about it.
And you don't have to be sober. You just have to be a pathetic addict. You have to be a pathetic addict.
You have to be a pathetic addict.
A pathetic little addict. A little pig who can't put down.
A nasty little piggy.
You can't put it down.
Stop.
You can't stop, or you can.
Or you can. We would love to hear from and speak to. We'll have a guest every week. Not necessarily a sober person.
No.
Not necessarily someone we even know.
Or like.
Yeah. But we want to hear about your relationship to substances.
And we want to hear about your rock bottoms.
Yeah.
The moments in your life related to what you are addicted to that felt low and dark and scary, and what the other side looks like.
Yeah. Where are you today?
Yeah.
And it could be that the rock bottom is happening right now.
Yeah. Going on a podcast hosted by two inexperienced, uneducated, and unenlightened losers. We want to hear from you. Our dream guests, Russell Brand.
Yeah.
We will get you on this podcast.
We will. Our dream sponsors, Dunkin'. Heineken Zero. Original recipe for Loco.
Let's bring it back.
Hers. BetterHelp. Because therapy, honestly, before going to meetings and stuff, great. Talking to a therapist who understands sobriety and addiction, so helpful.
Yeah. And that's not us.
Oh God, no.
We offer no advice.
No.
We offer no
expertise.
I don't think we offer many insights.
No. Are we experts? No.
But we are here to talk candidly about a subject that I wish when I got sober people were talking about.
Same. I wish I could have listened to a podcast, watch any sort of media where people were talking about it. And I think once something is spoken about, shame starts to dissipate a little bit. And that's what we're after.
Yeah. We don't want
shame here.
No shame. No shame at all.
No shame. No shade.
Yeah. No shade.
And that's on the dead homies. Oh my God. You're way ahead of me.
Yeah. 500 milligrams of caffeine before 10 a.m.
Is that recommended by the FDA?
No, it's recommended by me. I love doing it. I can't stop.
I have had black tea, PG Tips.
PG Tips. Number one tea in England.
Number one tea in Great Britain, or maybe just England. Builder's tea.
Okay, what are you tweaking on?
PG Tips. Ritalin today.
Fuck yeah.
I think that's why I'm like, I can feel, that's why I said I can hear my heartbeat in the headphones.
Yeah, you have a test tomorrow.
I have to study for the ACTs. What is
ACTs,
it?
yeah.
ACTs tonight. I got to study for the ACTs tonight.
Yeah, impressive.
I got to cram. No, the ADHD has been so unhelpful and unmedicated for so long. And when I'm depressed, which I have been lately, it makes it, it's impossible to be motivated to do anything. So that's when you need the mama's little helper. That's the substance I'm on today. But that's what I'm interested in is the substance. I would really like to get my hands on the substance.
I would too. I would love to turn into Margaret Qualley.
One week. I want to be like the witch, the
old woman
Demi
with your
Moore
fingers falling
witchy hag finger.
Yeah, I get it.
Was there an inciting incident for you where you were like, this is for me, I had attempted to get sober a few times and it never stuck. And then this time it did. One of the rock bottoms just stuck. Like, was there something that happened where you were like, this is the time?
I look back on it and I don't think that there was one moment where I was like, oh, fuck, I need to stop. But there were multiple rock bottoms that I had.
Same.
And my last night drinking, I had gone out and had started drinking at like 2 p.m. and ended up from bars in Santa Monica to West Hollywood and didn't know how I got home, and then woke up to text and they were like,
you okay, dude? You were crazy last night.
Yeah, they were like, you were really fucked up at the bar last night. Like,
it's so great not to get those texts anymore.
Yeah, and like I definitely came home with scratches and bruises, missing a jacket. I lost a lot of clothes, and for me, it was just like, oh fuck, if I don't stop this, like one of these times I'm not gonna come back. And I think that was kind of a big realization where it's like,
yeah,
this can't be what I do, because I'm not allowed to do it. Like some people get to do this. Some people get to drink. Some people get to do drugs, and
party.
I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I knew that for a while. And it was just kind of like, if I don't do this right now, I probably never will. And I did it cold turkey.
Same.
I did it. I'm not saying I did it alone. You never do anything alone, but wasn't going to meetings. I wasn't like, okay, I need to start going to AA. I was just like, fuck, another week down. I haven't drank. And it was just like straight up a day by day
just
thing.
Counting days. Yeah. Did you use the app?
Yeah,
I am sober.
I am sober app.
Shout out, I am sober.
We love I am sober app.
It's a great app.
Yeah,
it's very comprehensive, and it doesn't infantilize the sort of like woohoo.
No,
there's no woo. There's some woohooing, but it's not. It's not babying.
My
woohooing.
I am sober app for some reason is stuck on the Halloween setting. So when I open it up, there's a haunted house.
I never knew there even was a Halloween setting.
There are themes you can choose, so I have a haunted house on mine.
Oh, so it's not stuck on that. You chose it.
Yeah, but I don't know how to change it back.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't even know I could change the setting.
Very me.
It's a great app. It took me a while, but I found the like community part of it where you can just see other people who
updates.
have updates from people who have the same amount of sober time as you, or who are counting days and are posting like how they're feeling and
I mean, I think
what they're wearing, what they're eating.
That's why I want to do this, because I like seeing and hearing people talk about sobriety.
Me too.
In any sense, I love seeing on social media people celebrating anniversaries, because it seems like such a empty gesture until you do it and someone sent you a message and they're like, I stopped drinking. This is really inspiring.
1000%.
Yeah, and I've always considered myself very inspiring.
You are.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a hero.
And it's true that it feels a little bit like just posting or saying something into the void until you get a message from somebody. Like I remember posting about maybe like I had 5 years or something, and somebody messaged me and was like, "Hey, how did you stop? How did you do it? I need help." And I was like, that's something I think I know how to do. I can help somebody get sober.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think
if that's what they want.
You can help someone get sober. It's like, and the thing is like, it's up to them to stay sober.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not, you have to be able, you have to do the work.
Yeah.
But the work is just don't drink today.
Yeah, it's just existing.
Yeah. And it's hard.
It is hard. It's like, I have nightmares where I drink.
Oh my God, me too.
All the time.
In my first like few months of sobriety, it was every single night was a nightmare about I picked up a drink and then was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I was doing so well.
And you wake up with guilt.
So much guilt.
Yeah. And I think that's never going to go away.
Probably not.
No.
I don't have those dreams as often. And I remember my dad telling me at the time, I asked him if that was normal because my dad's also in recovery, and he was like, it won't happen as often. He was like, you get to a point where you don't even think about it. And it's somewhat true. Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some days I'm not actively all day going like, don't drink today, because it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
But I have nightmares where thank God this never happened to me when I was drinking, but I have nightmares that I'll like drink, drive, and like hurt someone, like kill someone.
Yeah.
Or drive off a cliff.
Yeah.
It's almost like my subconscious being like, bitch, this would have been you.
Yeah, this would have happened.
This would have been you.
Yeah.
And yeah, my last day of drinking was in Sag Harbor, which is in the Hamptons.
Hell yeah.
It was a beautiful day. I had so many delicious drinks. I had like 7 or 8 Aperol spritzes in the late afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting and having them on the porch. And then I went out to dinner with my family and had several glasses of wine. And then I went out bar hopping in the area alone and had some Negronis. And I remember walking out of one of the restaurants or bars with a Negroni in my hand and thinking like, it's the Hamptons. They all share, like, it doesn't matter if I walk out of here with a glass.
Yeah.
Like, all the restaurants are sharing glasses and silverware. It's the Hamptons. That's not how it works at all.
Just stealing.
I was just stealing a glass. I had sort of a reckoning moment with my family. And then the next morning was like, oh no. It seemed like it wasn't really a choice. Like there was only one thing to do.
Yeah.
And it was like, I can't live like this anymore.
Though the day after, if you had asked me, it's like, are you going to be sober 6 years from now? I'd be like, no.
Hell no.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, you can't. I remember someone telling me like, it's impossible to think like that far ahead. You just have to, because I remember going like, oh my God, I'm not going to have a drink for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. And the answer is like, no, you're just not going to have a drink today. And then see how you are tomorrow. Maybe don't have a drink tomorrow. And I remember looking up like on the drive back from the Hamptons, just like feeling ice from my family. I was looking up like actors who are successful and sober.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a podcast or a show or anywhere where I heard people talking about it in a way that wasn't like dour and depressing, or the stories or the AA meetings I had been to made me feel like, oh God, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I can do this.
I heard too many people who were on the other end of the spectrum where like everything was so blessed. And like after they got sober, they're like, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. And I'm like, my shit sucks. Like I'm not blessed. No. I just don't want to be dead.
Yeah.
And that's what it came down to.
I also felt like immediately like I'm a really boring version of myself. I think Brenda says this on 6 Feet Under. I feel like a watered down version of myself, and I'm tired of feeling so conscious all the time. Yeah. And that's sort of a feeling I have still. Yeah. It's like I'm not as fun.
You're aware.
I am very aware all the time. Not necessarily like present or in my body all the time. I'm trying, Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm not as fun.
did you have a lot of people after who would like you'd be at a social gathering? They'd be like, "How are you? How are you? How are you doing?"
Oh, that, and also like, you're not drinking?
They're like,
That's great.
"Yeah."
That's good.
I wish I could stop. I wish I could do that.
Oh, I was thinking more. They were like,
we don't want you to
we've
drink.
thought you should stop drinking
Yeah.
for many years.
Yeah.
There was that, or the like, wow, good for you.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
Or I
can't cut it.
think I might stop soon, and I'm like, okay,
great.
yeah, do it.
Yeah, I don't know how long this is gonna last for me right now. And then people were like, "Are you? Oh, it's like, are you smoking? Are you California sober?"
California sober. I hate that term.
I don't like that term at all.
Yeah.
Because not because I don't. Because if you smoke weed, you're not sober. I don't necessarily believe in that. I just think it's corny. It's corny
stupid.
Boots.
Yeah.
Don't say California sober anymore.
Don't say it. It's stupid.
People smoke weed all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, the weed is better in California, I guess.
Hey, smoke weed every day. You know, that's the
the
thesis of this podcast.
See, I was led to believe Snoop stopped smoking for a while, but I think that was false.
It was marketing.
It was marketing for the like fireplaces.
A smokeless fireplace.
The smokeless, yeah.
Yeah.
That was gaslit.
Yeah. That's what the fireplace was. It was lit by gas.
Oh.
And do you think people looked at you differently when you stopped? Like,
yeah, I'd like to think so. I think
in a positive or negative way.
Well, there was certainly like the people that there were friends who were like sort of just friends that I would drink with.
Yeah.
Who were like, well, what's the use of having you around anymore?
Yeah.
And I felt the same, and I don't see those people anymore. I felt so fragile, so like little baby Bambi on the ice when I first got sober. Just like every little thing I was so delicate and fragile. But I remember when I would tell people like I'm not drinking, that it was meaningful to me that the people I loved especially reacted with respect and love and acceptance. What about you?
Yeah, I think I had the same thing where like sadly, like there were a lot of people I hung out with who I was just like getting fucked up with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still friends with a lot of them, but like the relationship has to change.
Yeah.
Because
it has to end or change.
I'm not going to the bar at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday anymore to watch a baseball game that I don't care about, that I'm only there because it's an excuse to get drunk. And I like sports, but like I don't go watch them as much anymore because so much of it was tied up into I'm going to get fucked up.
Same.
And watch a regular season basketball game.
Yeah. I mean, going to Dodger games and getting fucked up was it was like a cultural thing for me throughout my whole life. Now I go for the hot dogs and the baseball and the butts.
The butts.
I mean, I love baseball and I love going to a baseball game and not drinking, which God, that sounds so lame.
I know, but
it's true.
There are things that became a lot more fun to me when I got sober that surprised me, where going to a casino,
I still haven't done that as a sober person.
So much better for me being sober.
Oh yeah, I know that I wouldn't gamble away, much of my savings.
But it does show also like addictive personality. I'm glued to that machine.
Yeah.
But there's
a gambling addict in me somewhere.
And I'm chain smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
But it's also like it is a freeing thing for me that I can do these other vices in somewhat a safe and responsible way.
Yes.
Versus where I would go there and like get drunk and be like, okay, let's buy a bag of blow.
Yeah.
And let's stay up all night and
hire some sex workers.
I mean, I wish I did that. I never did. I never contributed to the economy in that way.
I wish I did too. I've looked on like the website of the like gentleman companions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what would it take
gigolo?
A gigolo, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, dating is hard.
Yeah, and they'd make you feel like a woman again.
Yeah.
You need it.
I think it would feel like using, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Because you're not this person. You're
There's
just
no
paying for
emotional
their time.
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, we substitute so much because we've lost a huge part of who we were.
Exactly.
Or how long were you abusing for?
I was abusing for, let's say I started around 14. And I got sober when I was 29. So you do the math, as they
your
say.
Life.
Half of my life. Yeah.
I mean, I was 13 to 25. And so that's half your life.
I've never had a drink in my 30s, and people I've met a lot of like old timers. People are like, God, I wish I gotten sober at your age.
Yeah.
But then I meet people like you or younger, and I go, God, I wish I had gotten sober at when I was 25.
25, yeah. I mean, it's very young, I think. I should have got sober at 18. I should have got sober at 21.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I never should have.
23.
Never should have picked up the bottle or the, I was like chain smoking and carrying around a little bottle of Diet Coke filled with vodka when I was 17.
Yeah.
Younger.
Cool. Like Kate Moss.
Does she drink Diet Coke spiked with vodka?
I'm only assuming.
I would assume. Or she has a tampon soaked with vodka in her ass.
Yeah. Which I never did.
I never did that either.
I snorted a lot of
vodka?
Yeah, vodka and other liquors.
I never snorted alcohol, I don't think.
We called it doing chili willies, and you would put it in the little dent of your hand, and you'd bring it up to your nose and go.
The sense memory of that makes me feel like I did do. I mean, it did a lot of like bumps of Coke and whatever from here, but I feel like I probably attempted snorting alcohol at some point.
Put it in your eye, and this was.
No, I never put it in my eye.
Yeah, this was cool stuff we were doing in Ohio.
Ohio people drink different.
I know. If things went different for me, I would have been one of the Paul brothers, but all my actions have led me here.
Like RuPaul?
No, Jake and Logan, not Rue.
RuPaul is sober.
Really?
Yeah. RuPaul has been sober since like 1999.
Do you have a favorite sober celebrity?
Well, I don't know. Maybe RuPaul.
Yeah, I went through a breakup sober. I went through a new relationship sober, which I should not have been doing because I had just gotten sober.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't know who the fuck I was.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning who I am.
I didn't start dating again until I've been sober for like a few years. Also, because once I had a year or so sober, the pandemic happened. It makes me think of actors who have talked about playing alcoholics or playing drug addicts and then developing addictions or bad habits around that. I think John Hamm has spoken about that. About playing Don Draper for 10 years.
He started drinking more.
I think it had an effect on him.
And I think David Duchovny,
was addicted to aliens?
Yes, he was. He was addicted to the paranormal. And that caused he was mainlining goo after doing the
He was mainlining ectoplasm.
Ectoplasm on the reg.
Wait, what were you going to say about David Duchovny?
I think playing a sex addict, which is semi-autobiographical.
Oh, yes.
Was like still contributes. Like, I don't think he had worked all that shit out. And then you go and you're reliving it. And it's like, well, how do you separate the role and yourself?
I guess that's the work of an actor.
Yeah.
That's the work the actor has to do. Speaking of acting, I remember dating someone who was sober and was asking me, about what's keeping you from being sober? Because it was clear that I had an issue. This was when I was in my early 20s. And I was like, I don't see that for me. Like, drinking is such a big part of my life. And then I remember saying the words, it's corny. I was like, I want to be able to have a glass of champagne at my wedding.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are a lot of people, maybe people listening, who have that feeling, that sentiment.
I wish when I got sober in my early 20s, it was like my friends didn't have the language to talk about it with me or like ask about it. And for the most part, no one wanted to because it's uncomfy.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfy for them. One, because they're like, it's almost like it's admitting someone has a disease, which is tough because it's like an elephant in the room. And then it's like also like opens up some sort of self-reflection in people. It's like, do I need to stop?
Right. Do I have a problem?
Yeah. They're like, I drank more than him. But it's like, no, it's a case-by-case basis.
There's definitely a thing that happens where once you're sober and you're around your friends who still drink, there's a like, is it okay if I mean, now I've been sober long enough that they don't ask, like, is it okay if I order a drink at dinner? Like, obviously, it's fine.
Does this make you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
In the early days, they would ask that, and I appreciated it, but no, like, it never...
I loved being at a wedding, like, immediately after getting sober and people being like, how are you doing? Are you doing okay?
Are you okay? Are you hanging in there?
Is this weird for you? I'm like, yeah,
it is. It is weird.
Yeah.
And back to the champagne thing. Champagne is delicious.
Yeah.
I do like it.
It's bubbly, but you can drink a Martinelli's and it's just the same.
The sugar, I will get a hangover from the sugar.
Yeah.
Now they have these, like, some of the non-alcoholic sparkling wines are good.
Yeah.
The non-alcoholic wine, not so much.
I've never had it. I have no desire to.
You don't? Okay.
No, it doesn't pique my interest. I like non-alcoholic beer. I like N.A. Guinness.
We love N.A. Guinness, and we love Heineken Zero.
Yeah, I love Heineken Zero. I love. There's Athletic Brewing.
Oh yeah,
which is also
they've got
good.
Sort of like an IPA.
Yeah,
if you want something hoppier.
Hoppy.
You know what is another thing? The first like holidays or big occasions you celebrate sober, like you don't think about that when you get sober, and then it happens. Like the first Christmas, your first birthday, first 4th of July sober. I remember non-alcoholic beers being a savior because I was like, oh my god, it's 4th of July and I'm not gonna have a beer.
Yeah.
And yeah, pounding the Heineken Zeros or whatever.
I drank a lot of hot tea. Like
really?
I was like over Thanksgiving because I got sober in October, so November comes around. I was just like pot after pot of hot tea.
Oh, you got sober right before the Triangle of Death.
Yeah, the holidays.
The Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's.
Yeah. Tough time.
It's a rough time.
Tough time. I look at it where I'm like, I have 6 years now. I started drinking at
6 Christmases.
I started drinking at 13, stopped at 25. So that's 12 years of drinking. I'm halfway to having more years not drinking.
Wow.
Because I don't count the 1 to 13 as years not drinking.
Okay, sure.
But I've technically had more years not drinking than drinking, which is cool to me.
Yeah, that's amazing. There was also this thing that happened where the second I got sober, like the day after, I got a job opportunity, an audition.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. It was like
the universe.
The universe throwing me like a little cookie.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you start anything when you got sober to like fill the time?
What do you mean?
Like the time that you would have spent drinking, like did you have an activity or like some people like, I'm just going to go to the gym every night. I'm going to do this.
I definitely started to incorporate fitness more. And I think I just I already have an obsession with TV, and it just like I delved deeper into just watching a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Watching a lot of TV.
I bought a camera and I would go to the Santa Monica Pier and take photos for hours.
Wow.
During the time my roommates would be out at the bars. It also was a weird thing where I was living in a room with twin beds, and my roommate was on the twin bed next to mine, and he would be fucked up. And so I was like sober, sleeping next to like a blacked out guy in twin beds, like not ideal recovery space. So I would spend a lot of time out and about.
I kind of did the opposite.
Taking pictures of people.
That's nice. You turned to an art form.
Yeah,
Of
I
art.
was just so like, I need to be gone. I need to be out of the house. I need to be away from temptation. So I just like walked for
Wow.
hours and would take pictures, have my headphones in, listen to Angel Olsen had released an
Oh,
album.
Angel Olsen.
Angel Olsen, and I was just listening to violin music.
For a long time, I couldn't listen to music at all because it would all bring back the feeling of like being, because something I would do a lot is get drunk and listen to music. And so music also in general, regardless of if I'm drinking or using, makes me very emotional, and I couldn't do that. And I also found, because I live in New York, that I would go out, like going out walking around my neighborhood, like the people who saw me were used to seeing me like drunk.
Yeah.
And I think we're a little shocked to be like, oh, she's out and about in the morning, or
Yeah.
she's getting home, like walking back into the building at 10, not 3.
Yeah. You realize then that you were a character in other people's lives.
1,000%.
Yeah.
That people were talking about me as the drunk girl who lives in my building.
Yeah, 100%, which I've definitely had that before, like where I would go to like bars you don't remember being at.
Oh my God, that happened to me so many
and
times.
And you'd go back like,
and they're like, the usual.
They'd be like,
like,
this
do I know you?
They'd be like, you're fucking crazy, man. Or I remember once in college, I had never been to this class. And
I still have nightmares that happened.
I go for a midterm, and I'd been drinking the night before. I'm like real haggard looking. I have a little tiny wispy mustache. I'm wearing pajama pants, and I walk in, and this guy goes, who the fuck is that? And I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm just existing as a character in other people's lives right now because I have no control over my
very
own.
Perceptive.
My story was not my own.
Yes.
Like, and that's what we're doing, is taking ownership over that.
That's a great way of putting it. Your story was not your own. I remember saying or thinking, I was completely off my path.
Yeah.
I was just on a path that was not me. And that's another thing, is when I would drink, I was not me.
No.
I was a real shitty person.
Same. And you're existing in two identities at once.
Yeah.
And one is destructive and wants to kill
you.
The you. Yeah. And I think that's the hardest thing about getting sober, is admitting I want this person to stay alive. And I don't want the bad me,
the little devil,
to win. Yeah, the little devil. Though I love the devil.
The devil's
let's
great.
Not disparage him.
But I remember picturing it as like a little baby Looney Tunes devil, and little baby Looney Tunes angel.
Mm-hmm.
And that voice, it doesn't go away.
No.
It gets quieter.
Yeah.
But also, it wants you alone. And I'm like I like to spend time alone.
Yeah, same.
And that's not great necessarily for an addict to isolate from community. Yeah. Community is all we have.
I mean, I also think I had like side effects of addiction. I like became agoraphobic and stuff because I didn't want to. You don't want to have to go out and people be like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
It's like it's easier to self-destruct by yourself.
Oh yeah.
Because you don't have any concerns or.
I didn't want people to see me.
No. I was not looking snatched. I was.
Thirst traps were not happening.
They were not happening. I mean, iPhones were worse. So like,
right, that's true.
There was like plausible deniability that the camera was just bad, but I wasn't like doing.
I wasn't hungover. The camera is just bad.
I'm not doing like the little dog face filter 2013 iPhone thirst traps. No, there are like no photos of me from a period of years.
Same.
And I wish I could see some of them because every one, my eyes are glazed over. They're facing the wrong direction. I have shit on my shirt.
There's a lot of me in like my teen years. Like, our friends, like Veronica has a lot of documentation of that time. And so I can see myself as a teenager drinking and smoking. And I'm like, oh God, it was the start of a bad run of years. But then there's like a chunk of time in my 20s in New York where there's definitely no photos of me because I wasn't out with people.
Yeah.
And I certainly wasn't taking photos of myself getting drunk.
Exactly.
And if people wanted to take pictures, I think I was like,
or if I was with a group of people, like friends,
yeah,
I would be leave and do my own thing. I always found people at bars who
same.
I'm like, oh, you want to party? Let's go. And
Oh
I'd
yeah,
leave my groups. I would absorb into other friend groups so often,
same.
which is something I can't imagine myself doing now.
Oh God, no, I don't know how to have a conversation with
Yeah,
strangers.
no, but I would just like meet people at a bar and be like, okay, you have a bag of blow. I have a Hawaiian shirt. We want to hang out. And I would get in their Uber and we would go party for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'd get texts from my roommates be like, who the fuck were those guys you left with? And I'm like, those are my best friends of all time.
I went to so many strangers' homes and apartments, just like in the name of, you guys, you have drugs, you have alcohol?
Yeah.
Let's go. Where's your place?
Yeah.
And then I'm so lucky to be alive.
Same.
Like I say that, I'm really lucky.
Yeah.
Somebody out there was like looking out for me or something, because the amount of times I put myself in harm's way, like basically like the equivalent of just walking into oncoming traffic.
Yeah. I mean, I remember once I was at my apartment in Santa Monica and we got back at like 3 in the morning and we saw people were going up to the roof of the building. And I went up and there was a party happening up there. And my roommate and I are there and there's this guy. And I'm like, to my roommate, I'm like, that's James Franco. And he's like, no, it is not. He's like, it is not him.
Look nothing like him.
And I'm like, it's him. I'm gonna go talk to him. And I start talking to the guy.
Oh no.
One thing happens. He takes out the biggest bag of cocaine I've ever seen.
Oh.
And he puts it down. He's like, just like pulling out like bumps and doing them. And I pocket it. And this is like thousands of dollars of cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
And my roommate sees me do it. He's like, put that fuck back. Like, you're trying to get us killed.
Yeah.
Like, that's like enough cocaine for someone to fuck you up over.
Yeah.
I mean, the smallest amount of cocaine is someone is going to fuck you up over it, because if you have cocaine and someone takes it, you want it back.
Yeah.
And I remember being
you just took the whole bag.
I took the whole bag and I'm telling him, I'm like, we're going to have this for weeks, man. What's James Franco going to care? And he's like,
James can get coke like, whenever he wants.
Okay, first off, this is not James Franco. And I'm just like, I really was convinced it was. And I'm like, James Franco has all the money in the world. He doesn't care about this. And he eventually takes it out of my pocket and puts it back, which I'm still upset about, because
that could have
in my
fun.
defense, we would have had it for weeks.
That's a lot.
It was so much. I was like, because that's something I did not like buying drugs, because I didn't like spending money.
Sure.
But I loved having them.
Yes.
And if I had access to it, I loved doing a little bump, playing video games, rubbing a little coke on my gums, going to the market.
Like, just rubbing one out.
Rubbing my shit off.
I once had these very cool ladies over to this apartment I was subletting in New York, and they brought a lot of coke. It was very high quality coke, and I promptly, accidentally dropped it in the toilet.
Did you drink the toilet water?
Feel. I remember like the moment of like my body wanting to like reach in and like we could still salvage this. Just the looks they gave me, I still feel like the searing looks of anger.
Yeah, it's like Woody Allen sneezing.
It's sneezing.
Yes,
it was that, but it wasn't cute. Oh God.
Yeah, you weren't cute like Woody Allen.
I wasn't. I wasn't nebbish. I wasn't like, oh, I'm so sorry. I dropped all the cocaine in the toilet.
Do you miss your dealers?
You know, one of them is an ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
So no, don't miss him. I had a lot of like, you know, I didn't necessarily have dealers so much as I had like enablers or.
That's what I had too.
Yeah, people who were in my life and just had shit on them, and I was like, I'm keeping that person around.
Yeah, I had someone who I was sleeping with
Yeah.
For the express reason that they had a Xanax prescription.
Yeah, sure.
And they would pass out from a Xanax. I would just steal from their bottle and Uber home.
You're like, James Franco has plenty of Xanax.
I was like, James, go to sleep. James, it's fine.